Well, well, well. Here we go. I'm the Pashita. And since we keep getting all these little tidbits, these tidbits of information in regards to Battlefield 6 and what it could be and the direction it's heading, the Papashita decide he's gonna sit down, get his hooves, figure fua, and sit down and think, what are the things the devs need to do to ensure that Battlefield 6 is absolutely cockshocking. Because a lot of people eyes Battlefield as a franchise is very not as scrumptious as it used to be. A lot of people are saying, well, by God, what's the point of even playing that game? It's absolutely god dog gone on. So, Papa Sheet said, let's make a list and see what they need to do. Now, remember, this is just Papa Sheet's opinion. Just the opinion of one buffler. But I still feel like some of ye can agree with what I want and what I think it should be. But if you do, make sure you leave a like, comment, tell me what you think, and if you disagree, be sure to do the exact same. Papa Sheet lose, read the comments. And if you truly like what you hear and see, subscribe. Would make me a very happy buffler. But anyways, let's get this list cracking. Let's get this list rolling. Let's see what we can do. Alright, so first up, I think probably one of the most important tidbits is that I kind of hinted at it towards the last little section is, in people's eyes, the franchise is now nothing but spoiled bread. After this last iteration, Battlefield 5, so many people were saying, Haktu, Haktu. So they have a mighty big hole to dig out of to get back in people's good graces. So I think the absolute thing, the absolute must or bust, they must absolutely release this goddamn game, Battlefield 6, in a finished state. It can't be buggy. It can't feel incomplete. It can't feel like it's lacking. It's that all this extra time of development. We all know Battlefield 5 had limited time, and we know what it came out as. So, this one has a lot of time, and all these different teams working on it, putting all their mitts together, all the mighty mitts. But there's so many consumers, so many people that bought this game, myself included. I bought the deluxe edition. By God, insert Rick Eyes here, and I truly felt let down. The deluxe edition gave me nothing grand. Gave me a couple red skins for me guns, and I was like, by God. So, they gotta release the game in a full goddamn state. It has to be completely full. Completely. Can't be, granted, any game can come out, it's not gonna be entirely perfect, but it's gotta be goddamn playable. It can't be as it was. It just felt so lackluster and empty, by God. Alright, so that moves us on to number two. Number two on the list. Now this has pretty much already been confirmed, but not confirmed. But the general lay of the land says it's pretty much true. And number two would have to be, it's got to be current time or just a tad wee bit in a little bit future like Battlefield 4 did when it came out. It's got to be like a World War 3 scenario. All these people in the world. We're so tired. We're so tired of all these historical shooters, the World War 1s, the World War 2s. Granted, those games in there, they're very fun, and Call of Duty and Battlefield made their bones on these types of games. But alas, with the ever-evolving technology and what people want from games, sure, don't get me wrong, you can still make a game a historical shooter or any time period, and you can still make it fun and a grand game. But one of the biggest limitations of it is if you're a franchise like Battlefield that is known for like innovation and creativity and doing what you please when you want. If you put on something like a time restriction, if you want a World War One game, you're very limited to what was actually around in World War One, because you gotta stay in that shisha. Either you make it very fun and obtuse, or you make it historically accurate, and you're not gonna appease both fellers, both sides of the fence. So it's, you know, you're kind of asking yourself, you either get shot in your left foot or your right foot. You know, either way, you're gonna get shot in the foot. So I think they should just go back to current time, which, you know, has pretty much been confirmed around the internet. Alright, so number 3 is pretty basic, and feel like most games, first-person shooters, are gonna utilize this going forward, and that's they got to implement some kind of weapon customization, like very similar to how Warzone does it in Modern Warfare. You know, just like Escape from Tarkov, the whole, you look at your whole gun, slap the attachments on, build it whatever you want, and, you know, certain changes, certain attachments, things like that. Battlefield 4 had a very minute version of it, where it was very basic, couple attachments, but they got to expand upon that. No more of that. Battlefield 1, 3 types of a gun, you can't customize anything, because again, time restriction done in World War 1. Like that. But, you know, modern day, you can pick all these different guns from current day, a little bit futuristic guns, if you will, like Battlefield 4 did. But you can just, so many different platforms you can add on to, so it only makes sense that they would go this route. Like I said, I feel like most first-person shooters are gonna do this as well, seeing how popular and successful that implementation was in Warzone and Escape from Tarkov. Alright, now this next bit, more or less, is just me personal preference. I don't know if it's like a nostalgia point or whatnot, but I like to think it's better for strategic and smart plays, and that is, I want them to go back to having class-specific or kit-specific uniforms. What I mean by that, Pop Cheaters can't talk, the shade was live. What I mean by that is that in Bad Company 2, you know, Sniper was a bushwookie. Very grand. I don't even need to say more. You know, medic, he had the red beret. Engineer, he had those goggles and whatever we could see the repair tool. I mean, it doesn't have to be specific to like Sniper or whatever. Just the kit, I'm saying. So that way, it made it very grand. Say if you were sniping or if you were using an assault rifle. And obviously you see a sniper. You see him as the bushwookie from far out. You know what he's using. You know he's a sniper unless he picked up someone else's kit. So, you can normally do a smart play and be like, oh, I know he's a sniper. I can rush him. You know? Same thing for the other classes, but nowadays anybody can have anything, anywhere, especially Battlefield 4, you know, certain guns that were just universal. But I think it would be very, very grand to go back to something like that. I mean, I figured they were going to do it in Battlefield 5 with countries and things like that, but it was kind of just a free-for-all. A Japanese skin playing on an American team, like, what? Like I said, it's just more of a personal preference. It doesn't absolutely need, but I think it would be grand. Nice little change. Now for number 6. Number 5, my bad. I'm getting ahead of myself. So for number 5, I think reading a lot of comments and a lot of forums and posts and things like that, I've seen a lot of people during the course of Battlefield 5's life cycle complain about the limited time, like the modes, you know. How they put grind in, and then they got rid of it. And then they put in the broadcast mode, the outpost, and they got rid of it. Whether you like these modes or not, I don't think they should do the to and fro. They give it to you, they take it away. They give it to you, they take it away. It's not grand. They gotta just pick certain amount of modes they want to keep in the game, and then focus around them and make sure they're absolutely hung and well balanced, and they can do the best they can. They don't need to have 57 different modes. Could be so grand. Alright, moving on along in this glorious list, we're gonna focus on the maps, because most Battlefield 5, there's only a couple maps that are enjoyable. Damn shame. And the game even launched with a little bit of maps too, not even a lot. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly. But anyways, obviously if they're going with a more modern setting, modern time, they should make the maps more modern, obviously. and less of those outside, open, flat maps. By God, we're done with that. We need more modern day, dense areas like towns and things like Dawnbreaker, Pearl Market, Sands Cross, and things like that. What's more urban? Maybe even a couple forests, things like that. A little village, a town nearby, whatever. But these open, big old fields, Pains Storm, Harmonder, by God, things like that. It's so pish. I mean, don't get me wrong. They all looked very fantastic. Especially Battlefield 5. They all looked very grand. But it's nothing better than playing a game when you're sitting there like, ooh, look at these mountainous views, these vistas. By God, these are absolutely hung. And then actually, you shelled the kingdom goddamn Coom by a tank shit all on the other side of the map because you can see from one side of the map to the other. Very taxing. And that's going to lead us right into the next point. And that will be the Vicals. Now, and I'm one of the few people that enjoyed Battlefield 5's implementation of the new attrition system, indeed. Almost said nutrition. Yeah, I thought it was very grand because, granted, most of the time I'm a support player. Sure, I just give me shelf ammo. But in Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and stuff like that, by God, if you didn't have ammo, it was nearly impossible to give you ammo. Even if you said in the chat, people just didn't care. So having those little boxes where you can go back and get your ammo, that was very hung for me. I liked that. So I also agree. I liked it with the tanks, but when you do it that way, I think you gotta take it away from the vehicles and just infantry needed something. I don't know, but make the vehicles weaker or something. I don't know, cause when you do it that way, it kind of creates a meta for the vehicles, and that's you don't want to get up too close in person, or you want to stay around your ammo supply because you're gonna run out of ammo. When you run out of ammo in the tank, what are you gonna do? You can't beat them with your barrel. You clonk them over the head. You can't do that. So, whereas in the other games, I've got just thinking about it. How many times I got over from these fucking tanks on the hillside, and I got. They'd just be sitting there. They'd blast you. They see you from, open big old map. Nothing you could do. They'd blast you to Kingdom Come. So, if you make a modern map and, it could be, oh my God. But anyway, take away from that attrition and it's going to make, like how they were in for 3. Most of the time, you never seen tanks just camping back, shitting back, having a good time. Most of the time, they were right up on the objective, right in the mid-air, looking around with a gunner, just shooting everything, but back. And granted, they wanted the historical accuracy again, Battlefield 5. Put the gunner on top of the tank, looking around. And anytime you did that, you died. You just got sniped from wherever, every time. So, I think they gotta kind of rebalance the vehicles and even make it how it was in Battlefield 4, where there was a certain amount of different classes was on the map. Because Battlefield 5 seemed like everybody was just getting AA tanks. And then you had nothing against the actual armor. And it just, that entire map, and it was just no fun to be had for anybody. So the vehicles definitely need some implementations and improvements for balancing. Now, with that being said, it kind of leads us into the next thing. I kind of hinted at it again in the last point. And that's being that affiliate classes all need to have more gadgets for, like, their specific duties, like, repairing and stuff like that, and recon. Because I felt like Battlefield 5, if you weren't an assault player, which I guess is kind of the point, you couldn't take down the tank really. Even if you were an assault player, if you weren't with another one, chances are that tank was gonna, put it in your boot. But in Battlefield 3 and even Battlefield 1, I always felt like I had a chance because I was support. I could have me Shifua, or even as recon, I had Shifua. In Battlefield 1, I had me limpet charge. In Battlefield 5, what do you get? You get a goddamn anti-tank grenade pistol that does about 8 damage hit. Or you get one of those the grenade on the bamboo stick. And you kill yourself and it only does like 30 damage each time the technology wide blows your weight. See what I'm saying? It's no fun to be had. So I think they gotta make the classes have different gadgets to help against vehicles or something, I guess, or just have more universal gadgets like the C4 was. Because like I said, even if it's an assault player, I felt like if you weren't with a couple other assault players or people in your squad, there was nothing you could do. Because you had to get close to the tank, and chances are he was on, on a hill somewhere. Well, we're just gonna keep on moving along here. We're getting to the final 2 points, and for this next point, I feel like it's pretty much the general opinion. But again, I could be wrong. So if I'm wrong, let me know. Because again, it could just be the opinion of just one lone buffler. And that is the general point being, you got to take all these grand things from all the grand games in the franchise, and even the piss games. Take the things that made them grand. Because even the games that were piss, they had some grand. Even, you might not want to share one or two things, but you can always take away positive. So, with that being said, what's the grand in each game? What made each game grand? Now, this always boils down to, personal opinion, what you like about a game, what you don't. But, let me know if you agree or disagree. I'd love to hear. So, Battlefield 3. Looking back on it, what made it so grand? I would say, the maps. The maps in that game. If you could see me putting my fingers up to my mouth to suck on them, just marvelous, by God. Right now I can't even think of one map I absolutely despised in that game. Maps are fun in Conquest. They were fun in Rush. Good majority of them were fun in TDM even. The maps are just iconic. And on top of that, I feel like the game was just universally accepted. Now, what I mean by that, it seemed like any person you talk to, whether they played racing games, RPGs, card games on their console, whatever, it seemed like everybody and their mother had this game or played it at some point and they could speak to you of it. So that meant every time I pretty much played, I was always in a squad, full to the brim with people I knew, and all had mics and stuff. It was just glorious times, very grand squad play. But I guess the only way I can compare that to nowadays is maybe Warzone and Modern Warfare. But granted, that could also be because Warzone's free, so anybody and their mother can download it whenever they want, providing they have the memory. Now, so that's Battlefield 3, the maps and its acceptance. Battlefield 1, very easily, you don't even have to think about it. The game had the best atmosphere. That game's atmosphere and the nature of the game, it truly felt like Doc Brown kidnapped me when I was asleep, threw me in the DeLorean, and shipped me back into World War I. By God Almighty, I truly felt like I was in the war. And then the sniping in that game was absolutely cockshocking. Let me tell you, so grand. Yeah, but other than that, I didn't really like much. I didn't like the Behemoth system, and Operation was kind of grand, but by the time I was playing it out, the game died out. Like now, I go on PS4, I'd be lucky I find one server. So, but anyways, moving on. Battlefield 4. I think you already know what this one's going to be. And that's the sandbox. In this game, it truly gave you the feeling of the Battlefield sandbox. Only in Battlefield moments. Battlefield 4 was like the king of this. Pretty much if you thought you could do it, chances are you could do it. You weren't locked in any kind of a play style. Whereas Battlefield 1, you had to pick one of 3 variants of your gun. You kind of limited and locked in what you could do. I don't want to say linear, but linear. Whereas Battlefield 4 is very, very customizable and open, and it was just, you weren't bogged down. You weren't trapped. Now, Battlefield 5. I know. We could sit here and debate for many moons talking about, by God, was there even any good in that game? But alas, look in me eyes, look in your soul, shut your true feelings. You know what to be true. Battlefield 5 had a couple grand things. Number one being the easy life. Easy life, indeed. The game had many easy life fixtures throughout its life, and though many people hate the attrition system, it was a good implementation in my eyes in regards to infantry gameplay, not infantry vehicles, infantry gameplay. Vehicles, I think it was bad, but I understand where they're coming from. So these live, they made little features like your whole squad being able to revive even if it takes a little longer. I feel like that should be in every first person shooter with squads. Like you shouldn't have to be locked into a medic to revive people. And kind of piggybacking off of that, I think, now I probably get heat for this, that Battlefield 5 was grand for the controversial ideas. Now I know saying that about a World War II shooter is kind of by God, Papachito, what the fuck are you on? What are you going on about? But they showed innovation and a willingness to be semi-different from other games, And so I think they should just, kind of scale them back a little bit and try to implement some of those features in the new game. And that, I think that's all. That's about all the grand from those games. So moving on to our last and final point, and this is probably a very big point for Shade Flashed, and that being before the developers, the devs, before they go and put some significant big old change into the game, they need to utilize the community feedback. They gotta listen, read the forums, check Reddit, check comments, all that, before they just go and implement a drastic change in it. The best way I can think of this is, when they did the TTK change and the TTD change, whatever you want to call it, TTK, DD change. When they did that halfway through the life of Battlefield 5, I feel like more than half the community said, I'm done here, and they didn't want to do it anymore. So I feel like they gotta listen to the community and listen to what we want, what we're saying, and try to do a little bit better. Voicing their voice and what they're gonna change and what they gotta feel us out a little more before they just go and make a drastic change like that. Where there's a lot of people that play this game all the time. It's all they play. A lot of channels is based solely on Battlefield. So you can mess up a lot of things by adding in features like that people aren't asking for. Well, that's the 10 things that I think Battlefield 6 needs to have, or it's gonna be. Let me know if you agree or disagree below. I'm the Papa Sheeter. I'm a boss.